My in-laws gave my husband an envelope full of cash and said, just in case she decides to leave, you'll be prepared. I only found it after he left his jacket in the car. When I confronted him, he said, they're just being careful. You never know with you. I didn't scream. I just deposited it into my new account. When they asked for it back, I sent a photo of my new apartment's keys. They gave him cash in case I left.
So I did.
This all started because my husband forgot his jacket in the back seat of my car. We live in Denton, Texas. Not a huge city, but big enough to disappear in if you need to. I've been here most of my life. Blake moved here after college. We met at a bar downtown called East Side. He was funny back then. He had this dumb smile and always paid for everyone's drinks even when he was broke. I thought he was generous. I thought I was lucky. We've been married for 7 years. No kids. We tried once. I lost the baby about 6 weeks in. Never tried again after that. He said it was too much stress. I didn't push it. I thought we were still okay. Last Tuesday, we had dinner with his parents. That wasn't unusual. We see them about twice a month. His mom always makes this dry roast that no one likes but pretends to. His dad drinks 2 Bud Lights, then switches to whiskey and gets real quiet. Nothing big happened. Just another night where I was mostly invisible. When we left, it was cold, and Blake took off his coat and threw it in the back seat of my car. Said, "It's too hot for this." I didn't think twice. Next morning, I was running late to work. I work at a dental clinic, not a glamorous job, but it pays okay. I remembered his jacket was still in the back, so I grabbed it. I don't know why I reached into the inside pocket. I wasn't looking for anything. Maybe a gum wrapper. Maybe keys. What I pulled out was an envelope.
Thick.
Not sealed. I opened it without thinking.
Cash.
Maybe $2,000. Maybe more. There was a note inside. Folded once.
Neat.
Just in case she decides to leave, so you'll be prepared. Mom and Dad, I stood there in the parking lot holding it, and my whole body went cold. It wasn't just the money. It was the fact that they had planned for me to leave him. Like it was a real possibility, they expected. Like it was inevitable and he needed protection. Like I was a storm coming and they were boarding up the windows. That night, I didn't confront him right away. I put the envelope back. We had leftovers for dinner. He sat on the couch with his feet on the table. I washed the dishes. Same routine. Then I asked him,
Calm.
Your mom gave you something. An envelope. He looked up from his phone. What? In your coat. Says it's for just in case I leave. He paused for less than a second. Then he smiled. That fake, wide smile he does when he's trying to lie and be casual about it. You went through my stuff? You left it in my car, I said. He shook his head. They're just being careful. You never know with you. I stopped moving. What does that mean? You get in those moods, he said, without looking at me. Sometimes you talk about leaving. They just want me to be covered. I didn't say anything else. I just stood there. My hands were wet from the sink. I dried them off. I walked into our bedroom and closed the door. He didn't follow. That night, while he snored, I got up and took the envelope. I drove to the far side of town during my lunch break the next day and opened a new bank account under my name only. Told the woman at the bank it was for freelance work. She didn't ask questions. I deposited every dollar. I didn't tell Blake. I didn't tell anyone. But from that day on, I started to look at my life differently. I started to pay attention to everything he said. Every text he got. Every time he was working late. Every phone call that ended when I walked into the room. Every little jab his mother made about how I still hadn't gone back to school, or how Blake deserved someone stable. They thought I was a flight risk? Fine. I'd show them how right they were. After I opened that new account, I started setting things aside. Quiet things. A copy of the car title. My birth certificate. Some of my old pay stubs. I had a little safe box at the clinic I worked at. We keep patient valuables in there sometimes when they get sedated. I kept my things there, just until I could figure out my next steps. A few weeks went by. Blake didn't notice the envelope was gone. Or if he did, he didn't bring it up. Maybe he thought he misplaced it. Or maybe he assumed I wouldn't dare touch it. I kept playing my role. Made him dinner. Laughed at the TV shows he liked. Slept in the same bed. But I wasn't with him anymore. Not really. Then things started getting weird. One night, he came home smelling like perfume. Not mine. Not even the kind I'd wear. It was cheap, strong, something a high school girl would spray all over herself. I didn't say anything. Just noted the time, 9:42 p.m. and the lie. Traffic was hell. Another day, I found a receipt in his jeans. A hotel. One in town, not even 20 minutes from our house. He said it was for a work meeting. Contractors don't have hotel meetings, not in Denton. But the worst part came the day after his birthday. His parents had taken us out to dinner.
Some steakhouse his dad liked.
His mom gave him a card with another check inside. I saw him slip it into his wallet. Then she looked right at me and said, "It's good to be prepared, just in case life throws surprises." I forced a smile and said nothing. But I felt something in me break. When we got home, he passed out drunk. I opened his wallet. The check was for another $1,000. I took a picture of it. Then I left it there. The next week, I started looking at apartments. I didn't want something fancy. I just needed something mine. Something quiet, clean, and far enough that he wouldn't drive by. I found a small one-bedroom in Louisville. Not too far, but far enough. The landlord didn't ask too many questions. I paid the deposit with cash. From their money, I started moving things little by little. First my clothes, then my laptop, then old photos, my files, some books. I told Blake I was decluttering. He didn't care. Then one morning I walked out to the kitchen and caught the tail end of a phone call. He was in the living room, phone to his ear, facing away. I told her I'd be there Friday. Yeah, she doesn't suspect anything. Then he turned and saw me. He smiled fast. Just talking to Rob. Work stuff. I nodded. But that night, I didn't go home after work. I drove to the new apartment. Slept on an air mattress. Watched the ceiling fan spin in slow circles while I made a list of everything left to move. 2 days later, I took the last of it. The next morning, I left the house key on the kitchen counter. I wrote no note. Around noon, I got a text from his mom. "Where is the money?" That envelope was for Blake. I sent her a photo. It was a picture of my new apartment keys on the kitchen counter. Then I blocked her number. I thought once I left, it would be over. But that was just the start. After I blocked his mom, I figured Blake would text me next. Maybe call. Maybe show up drunk at my door yelling or crying. But for 3 days, nothing. Then I got a message from a number I didn't know. Just one sentence. "You think you're clever?" That was my money. No name. No threats. Just that. I didn't answer. But I saved the number. 2 hours later, my landlord knocked. Said a man had come by asking if someone named Angela lived in my unit. Told him I was a friend from work and needed help moving something. The landlord didn't let him in, just sent him away. I didn't need to ask who it was. I called the locksmith the same day. Got the locks changed. Bought a security camera and mounted it above the door. Slept with a kitchen knife beside the bed that night. My heart was racing like I was the one who did something wrong. But I hadn't. I just finally saw what they all really thought of me. That weekend, I stopped by the clinic to catch up on work. My coworker Jenna pulled me aside as soon as I walked in. "Hey, so, Blake came by. Friday." My stomach dropped. "What?"
Yeah.
"Said you left something at home, and he thought you might have brought it here by mistake. Asked if he could check the break room."
I ser her.
"Did he go back there?" "Yeah, but I followed him. He looked through your locker. He had a key to that locker."
I forgotten.
"I used to give him the car keys all the time, and the locker key was on the same ring." "He didn't take anything," Jenna said. "But it was weird. Like, he was looking for something specific." I waited until she left, then opened my locker. The envelope was gone. I had moved most of the money to the new account, but I had kept the note. That stupid little note with his mom's handwriting. I wanted to keep it in case I ever forgot how I got here. Now it was gone. That night, he finally texted. You took what was mine. They gave it to me, not you. But you never appreciated anything. You're a user. You always were. I didn't reply. I just forwarded it to my new email and saved a screenshot. I made a backup drive with all the photos, receipts, texts, and even that voicemail he left once calling me a dead weight with a victim complex. Then I got another surprise. My boss at the clinic called me in the next morning. Said someone had filed a complaint. Anonymously. Said I was stealing patient payments. Said I'd been seen taking cash from the desk drawer. I don't even work the front desk. But still, I had to sit there and explain myself. Swear I'd never touched $1. Show proof I wasn't even scheduled during the times listed. Luckily, the office manager backed me.
Said it didn't sound like me.
But I knew who it was. It wasn't just about money anymore. He was trying to ruin me. What he didn't know, what none of them knew, was that I'd been keeping a journal since the day I found that envelope.
Dates. Times.
Everything. Every suspicious phone call. Every petty thing his mom said. Every lie Blake told. I had screenshots. Photos. Even a voice memo of him yelling once, threatening to make sure no one hires me again if I ever embarrassed him. I wasn't just going to leave. I was going to burn down the whole mask he wore in front of everyone. I didn't go to the police. Not yet. I knew if I made a move too soon, they'd spin it. His parents had money. Not rich, but enough to get a decent lawyer. Enough to twist the story into one where I was crazy or unstable or trying to ruin their son's life after she walked out. So I waited. But I did one thing. I contacted Blake's cousin, Josh, the one he worked for at the contracting company. I knew Josh. He was decent. Kind of oblivious, but not a bad guy. I told him I had some questions about Blake's job, but I didn't say why. Josh sighed. He's been calling out a lot. Said he's got personal stuff. I haven't seen him in over a week. That was strange. Is he still working for you? Josh paused. Honestly, I was gonna let him go. He messed up a wiring job last month. Cost me a new client. I've just been trying to find the right time. I kept it casual. If you do, maybe give me a heads up? He said sure. So now I knew he was slipping. Professionally and personally. And then something else happened. I came home from work and found a printed note taped to my apartment door. Just one word, in big black marker. Thief. I peeled it off with shaking hands. He was watching me. I checked the camera footage. A hooded figure at 2:38 a.m. tall, walked like Blake. He didn't even try to hide his face from the camera. I downloaded the footage, made copies, stored them on multiple drives, and sent one to my friend Mia in Dallas. She didn't know the full story, just that I might need a place to crash if things got worse. She said yes, no questions asked. That same night, I made a decision. I printed out every piece of evidence I had and mailed it, not emailed, mailed, to 3 places: Blake's workplace, attention to Josh, his parents' house, and the most important, his ex-girlfriend, Tessa. Tessa and I weren't close. We'd met once at a party years ago. She'd been civil, but cold. She never liked how fast he and I got married. Said once, I hope he treats you better than he treated me. Well, turns out he didn't. I found her on Facebook. She still lived in Denton. Still used her maiden name. I mailed her a package with a note. You were right. This is everything. Just thought you should see what he became. The next week, I heard from Josh. Hey, I got your envelope. What the hell is going on? I kept it short. I left Blake. He and his parents set aside money in case I ran off. Then he tried to ruin me. I thought you should know. Josh was quiet. Then he said he used my company card to pay for that hotel. 2 days later, Blake was fired. I found out because his mom posted on Facebook that Josh had stabbed family in the back and let lies ruin a young man's career. No names, but enough for anyone local to figure it out. It was starting to unravel. Then Tessa messaged me. The message from Tessa came late. Almost midnight. I got the package. I wasn't going to reply. But you should probably know he did the same thing to me. I stared at my phone.
Heart pounding.
Same thing how? I typed back. He convinced his parents I was unstable. Said I had anger issues, mood swings. They gave him money back then too. Said it was for protection. For when I lost it. He kept it hidden until I found it in the garage. I felt sick. What did you do? Took half. Left without a word. They called me a gold digger.
Said I was mentally sick.
I just stayed quiet. I thought I was the only one. She added one more message. Thank you for showing them I wasn't. We talked for almost an hour. She told me Blake had lied about me to her too. Said I was controlling. That I watched his phone. That I guilt-tripped him into marrying me. He'd been building a safety net for years, with lies and side cash, painting himself as the victim every time. I asked her one last question. Do you still have the money they gave him?
No.
But I still have the original note. Same handwriting. Same wording. It's in a folder somewhere. I told her, keep it safe. Because by then, I knew what I had to do. The next morning I called a lawyer. Not a divorce lawyer. That ship had already sailed. I called someone who specialized in defamation, harassment, and intentional emotional harm. A friend of Mia's in Dallas referred me. I laid everything out. Quietly, calmly. I brought the envelope with the note, the screenshots, the camera footage, the text messages, even the timestamps from Jenna at the clinic. She looked through it all, then sat back and said, "This isn't just revenge. This is a paper trail of emotional manipulation." Can I sue him? I asked. She nodded slowly. If we tie it to his parents too, yes. Especially if they tried to damage your job or reputation. I asked, what if I just want people to know what he is? She smiled. We can do both. That same week, Blake tried to call me. 5 times in one night. I didn't answer. Then he showed up at my old job. The office manager told him to leave. He started yelling in the parking lot. Something about how I stole from him and ruined his name. Jenna got it on video. That was the last piece I needed. I posted the video to a private Facebook group in Denton for women who share warning stories about toxic men. I added my story, just the facts, with proof. I didn't even name names. But the women in town connected the dots. Fast. Within days, his name was out. He deleted all his social media. His parents tried to do damage control. Said I was mentally unwell, that I had created fake documents. They claimed I made the note. That's when Tessa posted hers. Same wording. Same handwriting. It went viral in our area. A reporter from a local blog reached out. Wanted to talk. I said no at first. But then I saw a comment Blake's mom made under one of the shared posts. You give a woman money for safety and she calls it an attack. No wonder he left her. I called the reporter back. I told her everything. The article dropped on a Monday. Headline, how one woman exposed a family's pattern of quiet control and what it cost her. It wasn't just about me. The reporter talked to Tessa too. Even Jenna, who confirmed what Blake did at the clinic. She reached out to other women in town, even someone Blake dated briefly before me who said he once threatened to make her look crazy if she left. The article laid everything out. The notes. The hidden money. The silent punishments. His parents' pattern of stepping in just in case. The fallout was immediate. His parents shut down their Facebooks. People in town stopped inviting them to community events. Their church dropped them from the committee they used to run. Someone painted the word liars on their garage in red. They blamed me. Of course they did. Blake tried to file harassment charges against me for the social media posts. The court threw it out. Then my lawyer sent them the notice. Civil lawsuit, defamation, emotional harm, and workplace interference. Against Blake and his parents. I didn't want their money. I wanted a courtroom record. I wanted the truth on paper, where no one could deny it. And I got it. They settled before it reached court. Quietly. Privately. No apology. Just money and a signed statement saying their claims against me were unfounded and inappropriate. It wasn't much. Just enough to cover the legal bills and leave a mark. Blake left Denton a month later. Moved to Tulsa. Someone told me he tried to start a handyman business there. Didn't last long. Word travels. His parents sold their house. Rumor was they moved to some retirement community out by Abilene. They don't show their faces much anymore. And me? I stayed in Denton. For a while. Then I made a mistake. I started seeing someone new. Too soon. Too fast. I wanted to believe not everyone was like Blake. That not every kind smile was a trap. But I didn't heal first. I pushed too hard. I clung too tight. I was angry when he couldn't understand why I needed to track every conversation, every detail. I told myself I was just being careful. I told him he had to earn my trust. But the truth was I wasn't ready. I lost that relationship. It wasn't his fault. Revenge cost me peace. It gave me justice, yes, but not healing. That comes slower. That comes after the fight. So I'm still here. Still rebuilding. Still learning not to look over my shoulder. Some days are better. Some days I still check the locks twice. But now, the money's mine. The keys are mine. And the silence? That belongs to them.